Magic TV, my name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Friday and it's time for, I don't want to say it's a magic rant because I'm not really ranting at anyone, but it doesn't kind of fit into any category here on Magic TV. Let's call it Magic News. This is an issue that's kind of bubbled to the surface in the last few days in the Magic community. I was brought to the attention of this by somebody who's actually involved in this whole situation, and he wanted me to be aware of the situation because he felt that he'd been wronged. And so I thought I'd do a video speaking about this issue and what's going on. And I'm talking about crediting here. I'm talking about crediting and when you should credit as a creator and when you shouldn't credit other creators for tricks that have gone in the past. Now, let me give you a bit of a frame of reference here so you know what I'm talking about. And then when you know what I'm talking about, I'm going to give you my 2 pence worth. So basically, if you didn't know, Amanda Nepo, who, if you don't know, was on Penn and Teller fooled Penn and Teller at the age of 16. And she's brought out a trick with Penguin Magic very recently. And the trick is called Diamond Cutter. Now, if you've seen the ad copy for Diamond Cutter, the first quote is from me. And the reason the quote's from me is, of course, I got a chance to see the trick before it got released. And I liked a couple of the innovations that she did with that routine. She took a very old concept that a lot of people have played around with, but she tweaked it and she's made it, in my opinion, a little bit better. And so I gave her a quote to include in the ad copy. I think it's really good. I'm going to be reviewing it soon. Right, so Amanda Nepo, she brought out Diamond Cutter through Penguin Magic. Now, if you haven't seen it, it's basically, the whole idea behind it is that you have someone pick a card and they're going to pick a particular card. You know, they're going to pick a particular card. You have the card lost in the deck. And then you say, look, I'm going to make the card come to the top of the deck. You snap your fingers, you turn the top card over. You go, is that my card? Is that your card? They go, no. And you're showing the 5 of diamonds. And you go, oh, it's not the 5 of diamonds. What was your card? The 3 of diamonds. And you go, okay, no problem. And you tear the card openly in front of them, face towards the audience to show that, and you go, I can fix this. And you throw that bit away. And you go, there you go. It's a 3 of diamonds. And they're not very impressed. And then you take visibly the bit where it's the 3 of diamonds, so it's got a 3 of diamonds, obviously, and you take it and, sorry, it's got a 5 of diamonds because you tore a 5, and you take that indices and you visibly turn it into a 3 of diamonds, and then you give it to them as a souvenir. Very nice, magical moment. Really, really good. So that's where we are with that. Now, Aaron Ducker, who I haven't heard of before, Aaron Ducker, he contacted me completely out of the blue. And he sent a PM to myself, which he's posted everywhere. He's posted this on the Magic Cafe. He's posted it in Magicians Only. He's posted it in a blog on a website as well. I think it's his own website. So this has been posted everywhere. So I don't mind reading out his PM to me because it's basically everywhere. And he said, hi, Craig. Now, the first thing he says is, I know this might be a conflict of interest for you as you're quoted as endorsing the product, but I strongly feel that Amanda Nepo's Diamond Cutter is simply a variation of my effect better half. My effect is coming out with Orion in 2023, but I invented it in 2014. I'm a staunch defender of crediting. As a staunch defender of crediting and ethics in Magic, I figured you'd like to be informed and aware of the situation. Now, just to give you context on that, he's saying it might be a conflict of interest because I've endorsed Amanda's trick and also I work with Penguin. But anything that I say on Magic TV, I am completely unbiased. Like, yes, I work with Penguin, but I've got no problem giving a Penguin product a bad review, and Sean Dunn is completely aware of that. I work with Murphy's Magic regularly. Lloyd Barnes is one of my best friends, but I've spent the last 2 or 3 weeks putting videos out about how I think that Mr. Blonde and the Collective and the Peak is the worst thing that's ever happened, and that's been heavily promoted by Murphy's. I'm not worried about what Murphy's think about me. I will absolutely give my opinion regardless. And regarding Orion, who is apparently putting this trick out with in 2023, I know Perseus really well, and I'm actually talking with Perseus about bringing a trick out with Perseus myself at some point in the future. So I am aware, I'm a big fan of Perseus. I think he's incredible, and I am completely unbiased in this situation. In fact, I wasn't aware of it until Aaron contacted me. So this is what he says. I pitched the effect to Penguin in 2015 and again in 2021. When we heard about Diamond Cutter coming out, we never asked Penguin for money or tried to block their release. We simply wanted a line of crediting at the bottom. They refused. Initially, we thought it was a big company being a dick, but then they basically said, Amanda doesn't want to do it. She doesn't understand magic ethics or the industry. It's important to me to get this credit because my product's coming out soon and I shouldn't have to defend myself from claims of plagiarism for an effect I created before Amanda even started in magic, which, as you know, the magic industry, Craig, that's what's going to happen. Here's my version from 2015. He then gives a link to his version from 2015, and here's the newest handling. I've evolved the script more and given it more of a psychological approach, and then he's got a link through to his newest version. I'm going to play you those two clips just so you've got a frame of reference of what's going on. If you want to see Amanda's version, you can do so by going and looking at the trailer on Penguin, but I want you to have a look at exactly what it is that we're talking about here. So here's Aaron's version from 2015.
Alright, just say stop at any point. Beautiful, stop there. Alright, the card you stop me at is the 5 of clubs. Now watch. Take the 5 of clubs and I'll really lose it inside the pack. Go on, no breaks. Nothing. Now watch. I reckon I can find your card in just 3 cuts. 1, 2, 3. I can't. God, come on, it's the same size. Alright. I reckon I can turn your 10 of clubs, this 10 of clubs, into your 5 of clubs. It's gonna happen quite mysteriously. If I take the 5 of clubs and look. What's this? I just... Now I have 2 5 of clubs. I see you're not impressed. It's because it still has that 10 of clubs index, right? Still has the 10 of clubs index on both halves of the card. Watch, if I take this end and I just give it a little rub, it comes the genuine 5 of clubs. You can keep both those halves, put them together, they are really part of the same card.
Okay, so that's Aaron's version from 2015. And then this is the newer handling that he spoke about from 2021. Let's have a look at that. This was filmed a couple of months ago.
What's your name?
Sam.
Sam, I'm just going to riffle down this deck, and I just want you to say stop at any point as I riffle down this deck.
Stop.
Stop there. All right, beautiful. Take that card. Okay. All right, have a look at it. Don't turn me. She can show them if you trust them. All right. Put the card back there. Okay, put it back. And we'll lose it inside the pack. And we will lose it inside the pack. Now, Sam, I will try to find your card in just 3 cuts. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Now, hopefully, Sam, this will be your card. Is that your card?
No.
Was it close?
Good.
I mean, they're all the same size. Sam, was it the same suit or the same color?
Same suit.
Interesting. Would you like to come up? We'll try something different, a bit different. Sam, what was your card?
5 of clubs.
The 5 of clubs. Ooh, interesting. I can turn this card into the 5 of clubs. Would that be impressive if I could change that to the clubs?
That would be impressive.
Watch it. And now I have 2 5 of clubs. It's not that impressive because it's still got that 10 of clubs pip, right? All right, Sam, hold up both your hands flat. All right, so we'll put one of these 10 of clubs here. We'll put this 10 of clubs here. All right, now, Sam, I want you to imagine that card could actually change into the 5 of clubs. I want you to picture it in your mind. I want you to picture it morphing in your mind, that card changing into the 5 of clubs, actually changing. All right, have you done that?
Yes.
Let's see how you did. Ah, it's still the 10. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's because every person has this kind of barrier in their head, this kind of blockage. It's the part that tells you nothing ever changes because nothing ever changes. It's the part that when you go to a magic show, that cynical part that says magic is not real, this could not possibly happen. Everyone has that part in the back of their brain. It's the part that holds you back. But I want you to actively block that off. I want you to believe 100% of yourself, 100% of yourself. I want you to believe that that could actually change into the 5 of clubs. That one. And when you feel like you truly believe, I want you to turn that over. And these represent the two halves of you, the cynical part that comes to the show and the part that will leave believing. I want you to keep both those halves through, remind yourself that you can be the impetus of change.
So there you go. So Aaron is really, really annoyed. And he's really annoyed that he's blaming Penguin for this, really. I went back and forth with him by message, and I talked to him on Messenger, and I've actually got the stuff where we were going back and forth here. We went back and forth, and Aaron seems like a really nice guy. I don't know him from Adam. He seems like a really nice guy, and I know Orion are really nice people as well, and Percy is a really nice person. But he really feels here like he's somebody who wants to kind of throw Penguin under the bus a little bit here. You know, he's very annoyed. So basically, because he wants my opinion, and, you know, everybody's talking about this in the magic community, and I have some very strong feelings about this. So basically, what we have here is we have a product that he created in 2000, whatever it was. When was it? 2000 and something. He created it in 2014, pitched it to Penguin in 2015. They said no. And then in 2021, he pitched it to Penguin again. He said no. They said no. And now he's bringing it out to Orion. But he's annoyed that Penguin are bringing out a version of this with Amanda. And and I was trying to confirm exactly, because I said to him, the addition of the extra piece over the pip is a big difference. And it's the addition of the extra piece over the pip that really kind of made the method really kind of work for me as opposed to something else. And he says he makes it less workable. And he says, and I said, are you trying to say that Penguin took your idea and instead of saying yes to you, they gave it to Amanda and said, here's a trick, release it yourself? And he says, no, what my fight is that they reject it twice. So they didn't provide acknowledgement when they knew at this point Perseus and I are in production, and also that I submitted it. We aren't accusing Amanda of anything. In fact, I consider them negligent in how they failed her. And I just don't get this at all. I just don't get this at all. Because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. And luckily, he's wrote a blog about this. And in the blog, he actually put screenshots of his conversations with Penguin, which is amazing. And he puts... he puts a there we go. So he puts a link through to the email he got from Sean Dunn, who's like head of creative at Penguin, when he submitted the trick back in 2015. And Sean said, Aaron, I watched several of your effects you sent over to me. I really enjoyed the creativity of everything presented and the cool t-shirt. I'm not sure that there is anything that would be good for Penguin to produce, but we'd definitely be interested in hosting an instant download if you put something together with an actual performance. Reading between the lines and knowing Sean like I do, that's a way of Sean saying, I want to blow you off in a very nice way. I can tell from that email that Sean had absolutely no interest in Aaron's trick at all. Now, here's the thing. Penguin have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of submissions every single day. I know they do. In fact, in 2015, a completely different team worked with Sean on those submissions. Yes, Sean sent the email back, but it might have been checked by various other people. The creative team that kind of look at all the different submissions now are people like Eric Tate and people like Nick Lacoppa and people that weren't even in the company back in 2015. There are so many submissions that come through to Penguin. I'm telling you right now, there is absolutely no way on God's green earth that Penguin or Sean would remember one submission from one person that they rejected 7 years previously. That's just not going to happen. But then he says that he put it forward again. And he said nobody was interested. But there's no screenshot of that as far as I can see. There's no screenshot of that, but nobody was interested. So his beef is with Penguin. So here's the thing, and this is the thing that I don't understand, because I agree that crediting is important. But from my point of view, it's the first person to market, right? It's the first person to get the trick to market. Now, there's other issues here with regards to originality, because this isn't the most original trick in the world, in my opinion. And there's several things that we need to unpack here. But the first point is, you say everywhere that, you say that, I'm trying to find it here. It's important to you to get this credit because your product's coming out in 2023. So you want a credit for when your product's coming out in 2023. And I asked him why he wants a credit. And he actually said to me that he wrote something for Penguin to include. So he said that he wanted a credit on. So what he's wanting Penguin to do, right? He's wanting Penguin to put on the ad copy of Amanda's trick a credit. And this is the credit. He actually wrote it for them and they said no. In 2014, Australian magician Aaron Ducker created a very similar effect to Diamond Cutter named Better Half. As Aaron's Better Half predates Diamond Cutter, we have been in contact with him and his producer and have gained approval to release this version independently. Aaron's version will be released through Orion Magic Productions and will contain all the nuances, theory and bonus ideas he's developed over the 8 years that he's been performing and evolving the effect. We highly recommend checking out the Better Half product when it's released from Orion Magic Productions. If I was Penguin, I would not put that in a million years. Not in a million billion years. Not in a million years would I put that. Because it's the first person to market. Here's the thing. He went to Penguin and said, will you produce this? They said no, right? He hasn't actually released this. He calls it Better Half, but it's not being published at all, anywhere. How can Amanda credit Aaron when she's not even aware of the trick? She hasn't even had it. He's not released his trick anywhere. He's not produced it. He's not bought it out through a magic company. That you credit something when there's something similar on the market. And Aaron actually says that. When I was going back and forth with him, and now my phone seems to have broken. There we go. When I was going back and forth with him, he said that he was talking about I can't find it here. He said he was talking about a trick by Cranzo. Here we go. He said that he's created a deck stab. So Aaron's created a deck stab. Ethically, he's going to credit Nate Cranzo because he's discovered that his deck stab is a variation of stiletto, which is a trick that Cranzo released several years ago. But I didn't know about stiletto, he continues. But I'm still going to credit. Yeah, but Cranzo released that. That was a product, okay? So Stiletto came to market first. So because Stiletto came to market first, obviously, if you've got a trick that's in any way similar to Stiletto, you have to credit Stiletto because it came out first. And Matt, your trick has not come out in any way, shape or form. And I said this, I said to Aaron, I said, are you saying that Amanda copied your trick? And he's like, no, Amanda didn't copy my trick. But Penguin, what should Penguin have done in this situation? Should Penguin have said to Amanda, no, Amanda, you can't release it because we said no to somebody several years ago that brought a trick out, that brought to us a trick that was kind of similar in certain ways? They're never going to do that. They're never going to do that in a million years. And I said to him, I said, Aaron, if Amanda bought this out through Vanishing Ink, for example, would you have an issue with Vanishing Ink? And he said, yes, I would, because I pitched it to Vanishing Ink and they also said no to me. And I genuinely don't get it. Because again, to be crystal clear, from my point of view, the credit is given to the first product that's been released. You haven't released this product. You created it 7 years ago. We know that you went to Penguin twice. We know that you went to Vanishing Ink. You've gone to various different places and they've all said no. Amanda isn't aware of any of this. So there's no reason at all that she should credit you, let alone put a paragraph on the ad copy about how you've given her permission to release this trick when your trick hasn't even been released. It's just ridiculous. Her trick came out first. She's gone to Penguin and she said, hey, I want to release my trick. They've said yes. Her trick is the first one to come out. If anything, you should be crediting her, because her trick has come out and been released to the magic community before your trick. All your trick was, nobody's seen it. Some of your friends might have seen it, but you haven't actually published it. And if you wanted it on record that this was your trick, you could have put it out in a magazine. You could have put it out in like something like Real Magic Magazine, or you could put it out through Magic Magazine or Genie or any of the other places. You could have put it out. You could have even withheld manufacturing rights if you wanted to. If you wanted to have that credit, there are a million different ways of doing it. But it seems to me that you were desperate to bring it out, and so you were pitching it to as many different companies as you could. Everybody said no to you, and now you finally found someone that said yes. But in that time, Penguin have made the decision to bring Amanda's trick out. Now, if you're saying that the two tricks are similar, it's hers that have come out first. But here's the thing, right? Penguin, and we'll talk about the similarities in a second, but Penguin could have a million reasons why they want Amanda's trick and not yours. First of all, there are big differences between Amanda's trick and your trick. Having now seen a full performance of your trick, right, is okay. It's handling with a misindexed card. People have been doing variations of that for as long back as I can remember. Heck, I came up with a version like that when David Stone's tool came out. The idea of ripping a card and saying, hey, was your card the 10 of clubs? No, it was the 5 of clubs. Boom, there you go. That's a gag that's been going around for years and years and years. That is as old as the hills. It predates you, it predates me, it predates Amanda, it predates a whole bunch of people. All you've done here is added a double indexed card to be able to be able to change that card. But like I say, when David Stone's tool came out, I took a card, ripped it up, and used tool to actually change the whole card. You look at, I think it's Reformation by Jay Sankey. He's got a version of a card where he goes, is this your card? And they go, no, and he pulls a pip off. Look at Joshua J. He brought out in Magic Atlas many, many years ago. The idea of saying, hey, is this 10 of diamonds your card? No, it's the 3 of diamonds. Well, boom, watch. And he knocks like 7 diamonds off and they fall to the floor and he turns it over and there's a 3 of diamonds. I've seen people do variations of that tear and changing it for years. Heck, on the net tricks, there's kind of a version of that trick where you tear a card in half and then the half that you've got, you do a spellbound change. Different in methodology, but the same thing. So you're not really bringing anything new to the table. Anybody who's worked with a misindexed card, a mispipped index, that's one of the first things that they come up with. The reason that for me, Amanda's routine was better than yours, and the reason I gave Amanda a quote without being funny, is the nuances and the details in performance. So first of all, she's tearing the card with the face towards you. Second of all, in your routine, you have to do a double lift. There's no double lift in Amanda's routine. You literally just have the gaffed card on top, which you can load into play whenever you want to. You have a card picked, you take the top card, and you're good to go. You then can tear the card very, very freely, and there's this really beautiful moment where you You've got the visual, where you go, well, okay, your card wasn't okay, it doesn't really look like a 3 of diamonds, watch this, and you rub the pip, and it magically changes into the 3 of diamonds, and then you give it them as a souvenir. That moment right there, for me, that was the reason I gave the quote. So that's the reason why it will get a good review, and that's the reason why I've started performing it in my gigs, because that moment is super practical, and without giving too much away on the method, when you realise how Amanda's doing that, and the method that she's gone through in order to do that, the thinking behind that is really clever. It is a polar opposite to what you're doing, because what you're doing is you're just having a misindex card, tearing it in half, doing a kind of frustration count with a half a card, 2 half of cards, and that's all you're doing. There's nothing creative. There's no creative leap with your routine, Aaron. I don't mean to be funny, but there's not really much of a creative leap. There's more of a creative leap with Amanda's. So what you have 2 routines side by side. In looking at it as an overall thing, yeah, you've got 2 cards and there's a magician in trouble scenario and then you fix it. But from a method point of view, her method is better. I'm sorry, but it is. From a performance point of view, her performance is better. I watched your videos and the performance was okay. Her performance, which I've watched several times, is better. It's cleaner because you're tearing the card with the face towards the audience, which you can't do with your version. And there's no ambiguity in her version. You immediately have this moment where you've torn it face towards the audience and you rub and you have that pip vanish. It's a much better moment, as opposed to having to do a frustration count at exactly the wrong time. So it is better, in my opinion. Amanda's version is better. But why would Penguin? Because you're insinuating here, right? You're insinuating that Penguin have done something wrong. You've actually said that all over the internet in as many places as you possibly can. Hey, Penguin have thrown Amanda under the bus. Hey, Penguin have done Amanda wrong. How have they done Amanda wrong? There's a million reasons why Penguin might have said no to you and said yes to Amanda. Let's go through a few of them, shall we? First of all, they might have thought that the actual trick is better. Because here's the thing, and I know you haven't really created anything before, or maybe you have, I don't know who you are, but if you've been going on about releasing this for 7 years, I doubt it, but I don't know. If you have, I apologise. But here's the thing, from a creativity point of view, one of the things that magic production companies like when you take it to them is the toy factor, having something fun that you can play with. Amanda's version has that toy factor. When you learn how she actually does that visible pip change, it's really fun, and it's really, really commercial, and I'm fully expecting other people to take that concept and run with it. That is a really clever innovation of the plot, right? Fact. So number 1, it's got that toy factor. Number 2, they might have preferred the method. They might have just not been blown away by your particular trick. And I can understand why, because here's the thing, from a piracy point of view, anybody can do your trick with a double indexed card. But with her version, you've got other stuff, without giving too much away. You've got other stuff as well. Thirdly, you got the fact that her performance is better than your performance, or at least, in the 2 videos I've watched of you, and I know the other one of them was from 7 years ago, but the other one was more recent. The video I've seen of Amanda, she was just a better performer. She was performing this type of trick better. She was engaging the audience a lot better. Also, she's more marketable. Without being funny, she's full Penn and Teller. She's young. She's got a good look. What is she, 16 or 17? She's female, which I know isn't a big thing, but there's other. I know my daughter Thea. She's getting into magic now. She never did before, but she's getting into magic after watching people like Nicola Arcane and Laura London. So there's that element as well. She's going to appeal to a lot of people. She's got a good look, and she's just full Penn and Teller. A lot of people know who she is. She's got a bigger name, so she's more marketable. There's a million different reasons as to why Penguin might have gone with Amanda's trick instead of your trick. But regardless of what the reason is, I can guarantee you, because I know Penguin well enough to know them, that they wouldn't have just gone, because the conspiracy theory you're going through here is Penguin have done Amanda wrong. Why have Penguin done Amanda wrong? From their point of view, they said no to you twice. They don't want your trick. They then had Amanda submit a trick, which in some ways is similar, in other ways are different. It's got a better method. It's got a better display. It's a different effect in many ways. and they've just decided to go with her. They haven't turned round to her. They have no reason to turn round to her and go, well, you know what? No, we can't release this because somebody submitted a trick that was kind of similar in many ways to this trick 7 years ago, and we said no to them, and then they submitted it again a few months ago, and we said no to them. There's no reason at all for them to do that. You take a submission on a submission by submission basis. They said no to you. You've moved on, right? You then go to Vanishing Ink, and they've said no, and eventually Orion have said yes, brilliant. But up until that point, everyone else has said no. They've said yes to Amanda. Regardless of your submission or not, there should be no reason why they shouldn't say yes to Amanda. And they haven't thrown Amanda under the bus by saying yes to her, unless you believe that Amanda did not create this independently, unless you believe that Penguin basically reached out to Amanda and said, hey Amanda, you've just won for Penn and Teller Fool Us, please can you come and release a trick? There's this guy called Aaron who gave us something 7 years ago. We said no to them, but we can give it to you and you can do it. Unless you're saying that they've done that, which you haven't said. You've said that Amanda's done nothing wrong and it's independent creation. So if you genuinely believe that it's independent creation and Amanda's done nothing wrong, then why should Penguin put a credit promoting your trick, which hasn't even come out and isn't going to come out for the next few months, on the ad copy for somebody else's trick? It's absolutely insane. Like, it just makes zero sense at all. So I don't get what you're getting at. I really don't. You've quoted a few people here at me, and you keep saying, "Oh, the people on the Magic Cafe agree." And I said here, I don't understand what you want her to acknowledge. And you said, Penguin has pre-existing knowledge. Amanda didn't. If Amanda had released it with a company who didn't have pre-existing knowledge, then I'd be like, damn, well, what can you do? But that makes no sense, Aaron. So you're saying that if she released it independently or through a company who didn't know of your trick, then you'd be fine with it. If you didn't release it through... So I'm just trying to get my head around this. So you're saying if she released this independently, or she released it through Alakazam, for example, who have got no prior knowledge of your trick, then you would be fine with it. But the reason you're not fine with it is because you went to Penguin 7 years ago and pitched them on a product that they said no to. And so now you're expecting them to say no to Amanda? Or you want them to put this crazy paragraph in their ad copy telling people that you've given Amanda permission to release her trick because you created it yourself years before? Absolutely, completely and totally makes no sense. Here's my advice to you. This is what I would do. I'm going to give some advice to everybody here in this situation. And you know what? It's only my opinion. I might be wrong. There's people that are watching this that might go, Craig's full of crap. He's on Penguin's payroll, which I'm not. I've got no dog in this fight whatsoever. I've genuinely got no dog in this fight. So here's my advice to each individual person. First of all, to Aaron, I would just drop this and not release it. Amanda's trick is a better trick than yours. It just is, on every single level. You're not a great performer. Or no, that's mean, and I don't mean it that way. I'm sure you're a great performer. Based on the video I saw of you doing this trick, it didn't come across that well. Okay? I'm not saying you're not a great performer, and I apologize for that. I didn't mean that. But Amanda's trick is better. Amanda's trick has the better toy factor. Amanda's trick looks better, and there are a lot of genuine innovations from a methodological point of view compared to your trick. I would just drop it. You move on. Somebody else has bought your trick out. They've done a better version of it. They beat you to the punch. I guarantee you, if you release this through Orion, it is not going to sell very well. Because what will happen is when it's released, there will be comparisons to Amanda's trick, which will already have been on the market for a few months, and yours will not sell because hers is better. I would just leave it. I would just drop it. I really would. I don't understand. This is a little piece of advice for Orion and Perseus, my good friend Perseus. I don't understand. Perseus's releases are amazing. The Masuda product is brilliant. He's such an incredible thinker of magic. I don't understand why he's backing this. I can see why so many production companies have said no to this trick, because there's nothing innovative behind it. Again, I point out, this has been done before, over and over and over again. There's nothing new to this. This is the sort of trick that if I saw it in a magazine, I'd go, oh, that's pretty cool. But as a release, it ain't that great. It's that little moment that makes it for me, compared to what you've done. You've kind of gone part of the way. I don't understand why you're releasing this, Perseus. I don't understand why you're wanting to release this product. I think that the Orion name is better than this particular trick. By the by, Aaron, I really just would drop this if I were you. I'd really just drop it. I'd just drop it. I'd just drop it. You seem like a really nice guy. I have all the time in the world for you. You're obviously passionate about what you do. Jumping around on the Magic Cafe, writing blogs about how terrible Penguin are. You don't want to burn bridges. You don't want to burn bridges. Yeah, sure, be honest, but don't burn bridges. There's ways that you can do this. What you've done by posting this all over the internet is you've basically just given away the method behind Amanda's trick. That's what you've done. The post on the Magic Cafe that you made has pretty much given away exactly how Amanda's trick works. That's not cool. Okay, this could have been done in private. This could have been done without being out in the open, but you've chosen not to do that. That's fine. My advice is don't burn bridges. My advice is just continue to create. You say you've got this deck stab that you're working on. Whatever it is, just move on. You're obviously passionate about this particular trick, and that's great. But here's the thing. You've given it to lots of production companies and they've said no, right? Take that as a sign. Create something even better. You will make it. You will absolutely find a trick that's way better than this particular one. My advice is just to drop this whole thing. You're looking bitter towards Amanda. I know you've made great efforts to turn around and say that it's not Amanda and you're not mad at Amanda and Amanda has, you're mad at Penguin. It's making you look bad because Penguin have done absolutely nothing wrong in this scenario. And honestly, trust me, if I thought that Penguin had done something wrong, I would tell you right now. I would say it to camera. I have no problem. I work with Penguin, but all the guys at Penguin, Sean, Mandy, Eric, they know that on Magic TV, I've had this discussion with them. If they do something and they mess up, and I'm talking about it, I'm going to say, hey, just a few weeks ago, or a few months ago now, they released a cube trick. I hated that cube trick. I gave it a very bad review because I hated it, and I hated it with a passion. I have no problem telling Penguin when they're wrong. In this situation, honestly, they're not wrong. If you want to bring something to market and you want to have people aware that it's yours, publish it in a magazine. There's magazines dying out. Crying out for tricks to be published in them. Go publish it in a magazine or something. Or self-publish it yourself and put it out as an ebook or as a download, or get a Penguin Partner account and put it out in the Penguin Partner program or something like that. They offered you a few years ago an instant download option. You could have taken the instant download option. But honestly, it's insane. It's absolutely, completely and totally insane to ask a production company to put a paragraph bigging up a trick that's not even coming out for months because it got pitched to that company before and is therefore similar in some ways to the trick. It just doesn't make any sense. It genuinely doesn't make any sense. And this is Amanda's first release. How's she going to feel about all of this? It's not fair on Amanda. And Amanda, if you're listening to this, and I don't know you for Adam, but if you're listening to this, don't let this put you off from creating. Your first trick, Diamond Cutter, I love the innovation that you've made with the pip. For me, that makes this particular trick. I've seen things like this before, but you've taken it to a different direction and made it really commercial and really practical. And I love performing it. And don't let this whole scenario put you off from creating, because you have a bright future in this industry, and please don't let this put you off. You know, you only get a small percentage of this. The magic community generally is absolutely awesome, so please don't let that pull you off. And yeah, if I've got any advice for the Penguin, know what they're doing. They don't need me to give them any advice. But yeah, that's what I'd say about all of this. To sum up, it's insane to ask for a credit for a trick that you're releasing in 6 months' time. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm all for crediting, but not crediting when you're not crediting. You can't ask a company to credit your trick when it hasn't come up for 6 months, and say that you've given them permission to release this trick when your trick hasn't even come out. And you've even said yourself that you wouldn't have a problem with Amanda releasing it if she'd have released it through a company that hadn't seen it. So in other words, you just thinking that Penguin are unethical because they saw your trick, and I don't even understand what you're thinking here, to be perfectly. I just don't get it. Well, I don't understand why you're mad at Penguin. You wouldn't be mad at Amanda if it went out through somebody like Alakazam, who you haven't pitched it to. But you are mad at Penguin because they've allowed Amanda to release it when they had knowledge of your trick. But your trick is absolutely different in so many different ways to Amanda's trick. Aaron, please take a step back and realise just how stupid this whole situation is. You know, you're creating a mountain out of a molehill. You're peeing people off all over and trust me, as somebody who has done this exact same thing, I have I have basically destroyed my career on more than one occasion for being outspoken in this community. I have left the magic community for years because of dumb shit that I have done in this community. I have been under attack from pretty much every single person. Even now, to this day, I have people that don't like me because of what I've done a decade ago. Please don't let that be you. You have a bright future, and Amanda has a bright future. Hey, if you want, I don't think you should release this trick. I think you should focus on creating something else. But if you are going to release this trick, good luck to you. Just put all your focus into bringing that with Orion. But just drop the whole Amanda thing. You know, you're going after a 16-year-old girl. It's what? You know, you're probably making her feel bad on her first release. Just drop it, man. She got to market before you. Fact. Her trick came out before yours. Fact. Just accept the fact that Penguin didn't want your trick. Vanishing Ink didn't want your trick, and they did want Amanda's trick. Work on go and watch the videos that I've put out on how to be a magic creator. Build up a profile for yourself. Go and set up a YouTube channel and put content out like I have. Build a brand for yourself. Put a whole bunch of free stuff out on something like a Penguin partner program. Throw tricks in magazines all of the time. Offer to submit tricks to other projects that are coming out. Make sure that you're everywhere so that when you bring a trick out, because I can go to a production company now and I can say to them, hey, I've got an idea for a trick. And before they even know what the trick is, they'll say yes. And I'm not saying I'm so much better than you, because I'm not. Why can I turn around to Penguin and just make one phone call and have them say yes without even knowing what the trick is? It's because I have a track record. They have released tricks of mine which have been massive sellers. I have been number one on the Penguin Creators board, top 20, whatever it is, for the best part of a year. I'm not saying I'm better than you at all. I'm just saying I've worked very hard at building up a brand, putting content out to the community so that when I release a product, people feel like they want to give back because I've given so much to them. Spend less time bitching on the internet about 16-year-old girls that have got there before you, and spend more time focusing on building a brand for yourself. So when you release something, everybody wants to buy it because you're bringing something out and everybody knows who you are. That's my advice. So there you go, guys. That's another magic. I don't know what it is. Let's call it a magic rant. It's another magic rant in the bag. Do me a favor. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. You want to see more videos like this? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget, if you want to join the Netrix, please do so by going to www.thenetrix.com. It's my streaming platform, and I think it's awesome. And also, I want to know what you think down below. Are you team Amanda or are you team Aaron? Are you team Amanda or are you team Aaron? Are you in Penguin's camp or are you in Orion's camp? I'd love to know. Bottom line is, I know that Penguin are going to be watching this. I know that Perseus and Orion are going to be watching this. all parties concerned are going to be watching this. Look, Penguin, I love you to bits. Orion, I love you to bits. Perseus, Sean, you guys are awesome. Aaron, I don't know you very well, but having had a conversation with you over Messenger, I think you're the sort of person I'd love to sit down and have a drink with. And if I can help you in any way, if you would like some advice on creating, if you want to share a trick with me, and I will happily give you some handlings or something. If you want to jump on a Zoom call with me, I'm more than happy to help. Aaron, you can do this. You just need to go about it a different way. Reach out to me if you want some help. I'm more than happy to help. And Amanda, congratulations on your first release. We don't know each other, but I'm sure that you have bright things ahead of you. I will see you guys again on Magic TV. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig, as always, from Magic TV.